Alice started rambling through the woods, and she thought, well, I've often seen a cat without a grin, but a grin without a cat? Why, that's the most curious thing I ever saw in my life. Alice waited. All in the golden afternoon full leisurely we glide, for both our oars with little skill by little arms are plied, while little hands make vain pretence our wanderings to guide. She thought it must be the house of the March Hare, because the chimney was shaped like an ear and the roof was thatched with fur. It was so large. Thus grew the tale of Wonderland, thus slowly, one by one, its quaint events were hammered out, and now the tale is done.
What is the use of a book without pictures?
Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. I shall be too late.
As this, I shall think nothing of tumbling downstairs. How brave they'll all think me at home. I must be getting somewhere near the centre of the earth. That would be 4,000 miles down, I think. But then, I wonder what latitude and longitude I've got to. I wonder if I shall fall right through the earth. How funny it'll seem to come out among people who walk with their heads downwards. The antipathies, I think. But I shall have to ask them what the name of the country is, you know. Ma'am, is this New Zealand or Australia?
Oh, my ears and whiskers. How late it's getting.
Kittens and flamingos. Do they have flamingos in New Zealand, I wonder? Or perhaps it's St. James's Park. Even if I could get my head through, it would be of very little use without my shoulders. Oh, how I wish I could shut up like a telescope. I think I could, if only I knew how to begin. It's all very well to say drink me, but it might be poison. I do know that if you drink much from a bottle marked poison, it's sure to disagree with you sooner or later. Cherry tart. Custard. Pineapple. Roast turkey. And hot butter toast. What a curious feeling. I must be shutting up like a telescope. It might end, you know, in my going out altogether, like a candle. I wonder what I should be like then. Now the door. Get up there. There's no use in losing your temper like that. Leave off crying this minute, or you'll drown in your own tears. Well, I'll eat it. And if it makes me grow larger, I can reach the key. And if it makes me smaller, I can creep under the door. Which way? Which way? Curiouser and curiouser. Now I'm opening out like the largest telescope that ever was. Goodbye, feet! Oh, my poor little feet. I wonder who will put on your shoes and stockings for you now. Oh, dear. What nonsense I'm talking. Ashamed of yourself, a great girl like you to go on crying in this way. Stop this moment, I tell you. Oh, I do wish I hadn't drunk everything that was in that bottle.
Oh, the Duchess, the Duchess. Oh, won't you be savage if I've kept her waiting? Oh.
If you please, sir. Dear, dear. How queer everything is today. And yesterday things went on just as usual. I wonder if I've changed in the night. Let me think. Was I the same when I got up this morning? I almost think I can remember feeling a little different. Let's see if I know everything I used to know. London is the capital of Paris, and Paris is the capital of Rome, and Rome... No, that's all wrong. I must have changed. I'll try and say, how doth the little busy bee improve each shining hour? How doth the little crocodile improve his shining tail, and pour the waters of the Nile on every golden scale? How cheerfully he seems to grin, how neatly spread his claws, and welcomes little fishes in with gently smiling jaws. I'm sure those are not the right words. How can I have done that? I must have grown small again. That was a narrow escape. Now perhaps I can get into the garden. Oh no! Things are worse than ever. For I never was so small as this before. Never. And I do declare it's too bad. It's because I've been crying so much. I shall be punished for it now, I suppose. A walrus? A hippopotamus? Why, it's a mouse. Would it be any use now to speak to this mouse? Everything is so peculiar down here. Perhaps it can talk. At any rate, there's no harm in trying, for I wouldn't wish to drown in my own tears. Oh, mouse, do you know the way out of this pool? I am very tired of swimming about here. Oh, mouse! Perhaps it doesn't understand English. I dare say it's a French mouse. Come over with William the Conqueror. Now, what do I know in French? Ohé, ma chatte. Oh, I beg your pardon. I quite forgot mice don't like cats.
Don't like cats? Would you like cats if you were me?
Well, perhaps not. And yet I think you'd take a fancy to cats if only you could see my Dinah. She's such a dear, quiet little cat and sits purring so nicely by the fire, licking her paws and washing her face. And she's such a nice, soft thing to nurse. Oh, I beg your pardon. We won't talk about her any more, if you'd rather not.
We? Indeed. As if I would talk on such a subject. Oh, our family always hated cats. Nasty, low, vulgar things. Don't let me hear the name again.
I won't indeed. Are you fond of dogs? There is such a nice little dog near our house. It belongs to a farmer. And he says it kills all the rats and... Oh dear, I'm afraid I've offended it again. Mouse dear, don't come back again. And we won't talk about cats or dogs either, if you don't like them.
Let us get to the shore, and then I'll tell you my history, and you'll understand why it is I hate cats and dogs.
Disgrace, I'm soaking wet. Heavens, oh, dear. And how old are you?
It is impolite to ask a young lady her age.
I'm older than you are.
You may not be.
Of course I am.
How can you be so sure when neither of us knows how old the other is?
Because I'm older than you are, so I must know better than you.
Sit down, all of you, and listen to me. I'll soon make you dry enough. Are you ready?
Yes.
This is the driest thing I know.
The dodo always tells very dry stories.
Silence all round, if you please. William the Conqueror, whose cause was favoured by the Pope, was soon submitted to by the English, who wanted leaders, and had been of late much accustomed to usurpation and conquest.
Eh?
I beg your pardon, did you speak?
Oh, not I.
I thought you did. I proceed. Edwin and Morcar, the Earls of Mercia and Northumbria, found it advisable...
Found what?
Found it. You do know what it means, I suppose?
I know what it means well enough. When I find a thing, it's generally a frog or a worm. The question is, what did the Earls find?
Found it advisable. How are you getting on, my dear?
As wet as ever. It doesn't seem to dry me at all.
Oh, well, in that case, I move that the meeting adjourn for the adoption of more energetic remedies.
Speak English. I don't know the meaning of half these long words.
What I was going to say was that the best thing to get us dry would be a caucus race.
What is a caucus race?
But I
Why,
don't know
the-
what the caucus is.
Well, the best way to explain it is to do it.
Hello? A race?
Well, you run from here to here and return, and then from there to there and back again. And the exact shape doesn't matter. Are you ready?
Yes.
Run, all of you, run!
Where?
Wherever you like.
Caucus race.
Well, Alice started rambling through the woods, and she thought, well, I've often seen a cat without a grin, but a grin without a cat? Why, that's the most curious thing I ever saw in my life. Alice waited. All in the golden afternoon, full leisurely we glide,
For both our oars with little skill, our little arms are plied, while little hands make vain pretense our wanderings to guide.
She thought it must be the house of the March Hare, because the chimney was shaped like an ear and the roof was thatched with fur. It was so large.
Thus grew the tale of Wonderland, thus slowly, one by one, its quaint events were hammered out, and now the tale is done.
Tired of sitting with her sister on the riverbank, Alice had followed a white rabbit and found herself falling down what seemed to be a very deep well. After peeping into a beautiful garden, she had taken a drink and shrunk till she was only 10 inches high. Then she had eaten a small cake which made her grow to 9 feet tall. Then, while swimming across a pool of tears, Alice had met some very strange birds and animals, and to dry themselves they all ran in a caucus race.
The race is over!
I can tell who's won.
Everybody has won, and all must have prizes.
Who's going to get the money? Who's going to get the money? Who's going to get the money? Who's won the money?
Why, she, of course.
Where are the prizes?
Prizes!
Prizes! Oh!
But she must have a prize herself, you know.
Of course. What else have you got in your pocket?
Only a thimble.
Show it to me. We beg your acceptance of this elegant thimble.
You promised to tell me your history, you know, and why it is you hate cats and dogs.
Mine is a long and sad tale.
It is a long tale, certainly. But why do you call it sad?
Said the dog to a mouse that he met in the house. Let us both go to law, I will prosecute you. Come, I'll take no denial, we must have a trial, for really this morning I have nothing to do. Said the mouse to the cur, such a trial, dear sir, with no jury or judge would be wasting our breath. I'll be the judge, I'll be the jury, said cunning old Fury. I'll try the whole cause and condemn you to death. You are not paying attention. What are you thinking of?
I beg your pardon. You had got to the 5th bend, I think.
I have not.
A knot. Oh, do let me help to undo it.
I shall do nothing of the sort. You insult me by talking such nonsense.
I didn't mean it, but you are so easily offended. Please come back and finish your story.
Oh, please don't go away.
Mouse, I want to know what happens.
What a pity it wouldn't stay.
I wish I had our Dinah here. She'd soon fetch it back.
And who is Dinah, if I might venture to ask the question?
Dinah's our cat, and she's such a capital one for catching mice. You can't think. And oh, I wish you could see her after the birds. Why, she'll eat a little bird as soon as look at it.
I really must be getting home. The night air doesn't suit my throat.
Come away, my dears. It's high time you were all in bed.
I wish I hadn't mentioned Dinah. Nobody seems to like her down here. But I'm sure she's the best cat in the world. Oh, my dear Dinah. I wonder if I shall ever see you anymore.
Oh, my dear paws. Oh, my fur and whiskers. She'll get me executed as sure as ferrets are ferrets. Oh, can I have dropped them?
Oh, your fan and gloves.
What? Marianne, what are you doing out here? Run home this moment and fetch me a pair of gloves and a fan. Quick now.
Took me for his housemaid. How surprised he'll be when he finds out who I am. Queer it seems to be going messages for a rabbit. I suppose Dinah will be sending me on messages next. I know something interesting is sure to happen whenever I eat or drink anything. So I'll just see what this bottle does. I do hope it'll make me grow large again, for really, I'm quite tired of being such a tiny little thing. Enough. I hope I shan't grow any more. I do wish I hadn't drunk quite so much. Now I can do no more whatever happens. I almost wish I hadn't gone down that rabbit hole.
Oh my, yes. Marianne! Marianne, fetch me my gloves this moment. Well, I'll go round the other way.
What will he do now?
Oh, my, yes. I shall have to come in at the window. Marianne!
Oh, no, you won't.
Pat! Where are you?
Sure then, I'm here, digging for apples, Your Honour.
Digging for apples, indeed. Here, come and help me out of this.
Oh dear. There we are, Your Honour. Now then, there we are.
Now, tell me, Pat, what's that in the window?
Sure, it's an arm, Your Honour.
Arm, of course. Whoever saw one that size? Why, it fills the whole window.
Sure it does, Your Honour. But it's an arm for all that.
Well, it's got no business there. Go and take it away.
Sure. I don't like it, Your Honour, at all.
Do as I tell you, coward.
Shall I be getting Bill for us? It is certainly a job for him.
I'll try the window again.
Not again.
Oh!
What a lot of cucumber frames there must be. I wonder what they'll do next. As for pulling me out of the window, I only wish they could. I'm sure I don't want to stay in here any longer.
Put it up at this corner.
Oh! Mind yourself, Bill. We have a job of work to do. Oh, my head!
Oh, yes, Whiskers.
What's that, Your Honour? Oh, not again!
What can we be doing? Oh, my ears and whiskers. Where is the other ladder?
No, one will suffice, Your Honour. 'Tis a job for Bill and one ladder, for that's all we've got.
Well, here then. Put it up at this corner.
Oh, not again!
Put it up against the house.
Right then, Bill. You'll be scurrying up the ladder and mind the roof. It's not terribly strong, you know.
Quickly now.
Mind that slate! It's coming down! Heads below!
Now, who did that?
I rather fancy it was Bill. Get yourself in the chimney, you lazy tyke!
Oh, so Bill's got to come down the chimney, has he? Why, they seem to put everything upon Bill. I wouldn't be in his place for anything.
What can we be doing?
He's a good fella, Your Honour. He'll come onto this with flying colours.
This is Bill.
Isn't that Bill flying through the air?
There goes Bill.
I recognise that lizard. It's Bill. That's Bill, all right. Oh, Bill, what are you doing up there?
Catch him, you!
Hold up his head. Oh, my head.
Brandy now.
Look at that lizard. Always lying down on the
Don't
job.
choke him. How was it, old fellow?
What happened to you? Tell us all about it.
Typical of that lizard, always drinking strong drink.
Well, I hardly know. No more, thank you. I'm better now, but I'm a deal too flustered to tell you. All I know is something comes at me like a jack-in-the-box, and up I goes like a skyrocket.
So you did, old fellow.
Yes, you did. We saw you.
We must burn the house down.
Very well, Your Honour.
If you do, I'll set Dinah on you. I wonder what they will do next. If they had any sense, they'd take the roof off.
A barrowful will do to begin with.
A barrow full of what?
Give me some stone.
Ears and whiskers.
Fire! Fire!
I'll put a stop to this. You'd better not do that again. If I eat one of these cakes, it's sure to make some change in my size. And as it can't possibly make me any larger, it must make me smaller, I suppose.
Let's be getting them up there. Come on, Bill. Pass it. Come on, we can see the window now.
Ears and whiskers.
Harder, harder, harder.
The first thing I've got to do is to grow to my right size again. And the second thing is to find my way into that lovely garden. I suppose I ought to eat or drink something or other. But the question is, what?
are you?
I hardly know, sir. Just at present. At least I know who I was when I got up this morning. But I think I must have changed several times since then.
What do you mean by that? Explain yourself.
I'm afraid I can't put it more clearly, for I can't understand myself, to begin with. And being so many different sizes in a day is very confusing.
It isn't.
Well, perhaps you haven't found it so yet. But when you have turned into a chrysalis, you will someday, you know. And then after that into a butterfly, I should think you'll find it a little strange, won't you?
Not a bit.
Well, perhaps your feelings may be different. All I know is, it would feel very strange to me.
Who are you?
I think you ought to tell me who you are first.
Why? No! Come back! I've something important to say. Keep your temper.
Is that all?
No. So you think you're changed, do you?
I'm afraid I am, sir. I can't remember things as I used. And I don't keep the same size for 10 minutes together.
Can't remember what things?
Well, I've tried to say how doth the little busy bee, but it all came different.
Let us try. You are old, Father William.
You are old, Father William, the young man said, and your hair has become very white. And yet you incessantly stand on your head. Do you think at your age it is right?
In my youth, Father William replied to his son, I feared it might injure the brain. But now I'm perfectly sure I have none. Why, I do it again and again.
You are old, said the youth, as I mentioned before, and have grown most uncommonly fat. Yet you turned a back somersault in at the door. Pray, what is the reason for that?
In my youth, said the sage as he shook his grey locks, I kept all my limbs very supple. By the use of this ointment, 1 shilling the box, allow me to sell you a couple.
You are old, said the youth, and your jaws are too weak for anything tougher than suet. Yet you finished the goose with the bones and the beak. Pray, how did you manage to do it?
In my youth, said the father, I took to the law and argued each case with my wife, and the muscular strength which she gave to my jaw has lasted the rest of my life.
You are old, said the youth, one would hardly suppose.
That your eye was as steady as ever.
Yet you balanced an eel on the end of your nose.
What made you so awfully clever?
I have answered 3 questions, and that is enough.
Said his father, don't give yourself airs.
Do you think I can listen all day to such stuff?
You're for kick it downstairs!
Well, Alice started rambling through the woods, and she thought, well, I've often seen a cat without a grin, but a grin without a cat. Why, that's the most curious thing I ever saw in my life. Alice waited.
All in the golden afternoon full leisurely we glide, for both our oars with little skill while little arms are plied, while little hands make vain pretense our wanderings to guide.
She thought it must be the house of the March Hare, because the chimney was shaped like an ear and the roof was thatched with fur. It was so large a house.
Thus grew the tale of Wonderland, thus slowly, one by one, its quaint events were hammered out, and now the tale is done.
After presenting prizes to the animals in the Caucus race and listening to the mouse's tale, Alice found herself alone on the bank of the Pool of Tears. The White Rabbit, mistaking her for his housemaid, had sent her on an errand. She had grown enormously, then been besieged in the rabbit's house until she eventually managed to escape into the woods. Here she met an elderly caterpillar who seemed intent upon offering her good advice.
What size do you want to be?
Oh, I'm not particular as to size. Only one doesn't like changing so often, you know.
I don't know. Are you content now?
Well, I should like to be a little larger, sir, if you wouldn't mind. 3 inches is such a wretched height to be.
It is a very good height indeed. I am exactly 3 inches high.
But I'm not used to it.
You'll get used to it in time. One side will make you grow taller, and the other side will make you grow shorter.
One side of what? The other side of what?
Of the mushroom.
Now, which one shall I try? That must have been the wrong one. What can all that green stuff be? And where have my shoulders got to? And oh, my poor hands! How is it I can't see you?
Serpent!
I'm not a serpent. Leave me alone.
Serpent! I say it again. You're a serpent. You shall not have my eggs.
I haven't the least idea what you're talking about.
Oh, yes, you have. I've tried the roots of trees, and I've tried banks, and I've tried hedges, but there's no getting away from you serpents. As if it wasn't trouble enough hatching the eggs, but I must be on the lookout for serpents night and day. Why, I haven't had a wink of sleep these 3 weeks.
I'm very sorry you've been annoyed.
And just as I'd taken the highest tree in the wood, and I was thinking I would be free of them at last, they come wriggling down from the sky. Oh, oh, serpent, serpent!
But I'm not a serpent, I tell you. I'm a...
Well, what are you? I can see you're trying to invent something.
I'm a little girl.
A likely story indeed. I've seen a good many little girls in my time, but never one with such a neck as that. No, 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 no. You're a serpent. I suppose you'll be telling me next that you never tasted an egg.
I have tasted eggs, certainly. But little girls eat eggs quite as much as serpents do.
I don't believe it. But if they do, why then, they're a kind of serpent. That's all I can say. You're looking for eggs. I know that well enough. And what does it matter to me whether you're a little girl or a serpent?
It matters a good deal to me, but I'm not looking for eggs as it happens. And if I was, I shouldn't want yours. I don't like them raw.
Oh, well, be off then. Be off. Serpent, be off.
I can see my shoulders again now, and I think my neck is coming back to normal. Whoever lives there? It will never do to come upon them this size. Why, I should frighten them out of their wits.
From the Queen, an invitation to the Duchess to play croquet. There's no sort of use in knocking, and that for two reasons. First, because I'm on the same side of the door as you are. Secondly, because they're making such a noise inside, no one could possibly hear you.
Please then, how am I to get in?
There might be some sense in your knocking if we had the door between us. For instance, if you were inside, you might knock, and I could let you out, you know.
But how am I to get in?
I shall sit here till tomorrow. Or the next day, maybe.
How am I to get in?
Are you to get in at all? That's the first question, you know.
It's really dreadful, the way all the creatures argue. It's enough to drive one crazy.
I shall sit here, on and off, for days and days.
But what am I to do?
Anything you like.
Oh, there's no use talking to him. He's perfectly idiotic. There's certainly too much pepper in that soup. Please, would you tell me why you're... Please, would you tell me why your cat grins like that?
It's a Cheshire cat. And that's why. Pig!
I didn't know that Cheshire cats always grin. In fact, I didn't know cats could grin.
You all can. And most of them do.
I don't know of any that do.
You don't know much, and that's a fact.
Oh, please mind what you're doing. Oh, be careful of the baby.
Everybody minded their own business. The world would go round a deal faster than it does.
Which would not be an advantage. Just think what work it would make with the day and night. You see, the world takes 24 hours to turn round on its axis. Or is it 12?
Talking of axes, chop off her head! The only way to soothe him is to sing to him. Speak roughly to your little boy and beat him when he sneezes. He only does it to annoy because he knows it teases. I speak severely to my boy. I beat him when he sneezes. For he can thoroughly enjoy the pepper when he pleases. Here, you nurse it. I must go and get ready to play croquet with the Queen.
If I don't take this child away with me, they're sure to kill it in a day or two. Wouldn't it be murder to leave it behind? Don't grunt. That's not at all a proper way of expressing yourself. Perhaps it was only sobbing. If you're going to turn into a pig, I'll have nothing more to do with you. Now what am I to do with this creature when I get it home? If it had grown up, it would have made a dreadfully ugly child. But it makes rather a handsome pig, I think. Quite a lot of children that I know might do very well as pigs. Oh, the Cheshire Cat. Could you please tell me which way I ought to walk from here?
That depends a good deal on where you want to get to.
I really don't mind where.
Then it doesn't matter which way you walk.
So long as I get somewhere.
Oh, you're sure to do that, if you only walk long enough.
Thank you for your advice. What sort of people live about here?
In that direction lives a hatter, and in that direction lives a March hare. Visit either if you like. They're both mad.
But I don't want to go among mad people.
Oh, you can't help that. We're all mad here. I'm mad. You're mad.
How do you know I'm mad?
You must be, or you wouldn't have come here.
And how do you know that you're mad?
Well, to begin with, a dog's not mad. You grant that.
I suppose so.
Well then, you see, a dog growls when it's angry and wags its tail when it's pleased. But I growl when I'm pleased and wag my tail when I'm angry. Therefore, I'm mad.
I call it purring, not growling.
Call it what you like. Will you be playing croquet with the Queen today?
I should like it very much, but I haven't been invited yet.
You'll see me there.
Oh.
By the by, what became of the baby? I'd almost forgotten to ask.
It turned into a pig.
I thought it would.
Oh, he's gone. I've seen hatters before. The March hare will be much the most interesting. As Mrs. May, perhaps it won't be quite so mad as it was in March.
Did you say pig or fig?
I said pig, and I wish you wouldn't keep appearing and vanishing so suddenly. You make one quite giddy.
All right.
Well, I've often seen a cat without a grin, but a grin without a cat, it's the most curious thing I ever saw in my life. This must be the March Hare's house, but I think I'd better grow a little first. Suppose it should be raving mad after all. I almost wish I'd gone to see the Hatter instead. Very uncomfortable for the dormouse, only as it's asleep, I suppose it doesn't mind.
No room! No room!
There's plenty of room.
Have some wine.
I don't see any wine.
Well, there isn't any. No, there isn't any.
Then it wasn't very civil of you to offer it.
Oh, it wasn't very civil of you to sit down without being invited.
I didn't know it was your table. It's laid for a great many more than 3.
Your hair wants cutting.
You should learn not to make personal remarks. It's very rude.
Take some more tea.
I've had nothing yet, so I can't take more.
You mean you can't take less? It's very easy to take more than nothing.
Nobody asked your opinion.
Who's making personal remarks now? Why is a raven like a writing desk?
I believe I can guess that.
Do you mean that you think you can find out the answer to it?
Well, Alice started rambling through the woods, and she thought, well, I've often seen a cat without a grin, but a grin without a cat? Why, that's the most curious thing I ever saw in my life. Alice waited.
All in the golden afternoon full leisurely we glide, For both our oars with little skill, by little arms are plied, while little hands make vain pretense our wanderings to guide.
She thought it must be the house of the March Hare, because the chimney was shaped like an ear and the roof was thatched with fur. It was so large a house.
Thus grew the tale of Wonderland, thus slowly, one by one, its quaint events were hammered out, and now the tale is done. The caterpillar had let Alice into the secret of how to control her size by eating little pieces of mushroom. Then, after a frightening encounter with a pigeon, Alice found herself in a strange kitchen facing the bad-tempered Duchess and her cook. Later, in the woods, she was surprised by a Cheshire cat who directed her to the March Hare's house. He was having tea with the Mad Hatter.
Why is a raven like a writing desk?
I believe I can guess that.
Do you mean that you think you can find out the answer to it?
Exactly so.
Then you should say what you mean.
I do. At least, I mean what I say. That's the same thing, you know.
It's not the same thing a bit. Why, you might just as well say that I see what I eat is the same thing as I eat what I see.
You might just as well say that I like what I get. It's the same as, I get what I like.
Oh, you might just as well say that I breathe when I sleep. It's the same thing as I sleep when I breathe.
It is the same thing with you.
Oh.
What day of the month is it?
The 4th.
Wrong again. I told you butter wouldn't suit the works.
No, but it was the best butter.
So smooth, so smooth, so smooth.
Yes, but some crumbs must have got in as well. You shouldn't have put it in with the bread knife.
But it was the best butter, you know, the best.
What a funny watch. It tells the day of the month, and it doesn't tell what o'clock it is.
Why should it? Does your watch tell you what year it is?
Of course not. But that's because it stays the same year for such a long time together.
Which is just the case with mine.
I don't quite understand you.
The dormouse is asleep again. Pinch him. Oh, pinch it. Come on, pinch it.
Oh, yeah. Of course. Just what I was going to say.
Have you guessed the riddle yet?
No, I give it up. What's the answer?
I haven't the slightest idea.
Oh, nor I. No.
I think you might do something better with the time than wasting it asking riddles that have no answers.
If you knew time as well as I do, you wouldn't talk about wasting it. It's him.
I don't know what you mean.
Of course you don't. I dare say you never even spoke to time.
Perhaps not. But I know I have to beat time when I learn music.
Ah, that accounts for it. He won't stand beating. Now, if you only kept on good terms with him, he'd do almost anything you like with the clock.
Is that the way you manage?
Not I. We quarrelled last March, just before he went mad, you know. It was at a great concert given by the Queen of Hearts, and I had to sing. Twinkle, twinkle, little bat, how I wonder what you're at. You know the song, perhaps?
I've heard something like it.
It goes on, you know, in this way. Up above the world you fly, like a tea tray in the sky. Twinkle, twinkle,
twinkle, twinkle, twinkle, twinkle, twinkle. Oh, don't twinkle. Oh, no.
Well, I'd hardly finished the first verse when the Queen bawled out, "He's murdering the time! Off with his head!"
How dreadfully savage.
And ever since that, he won't do a thing I ask. It's always 6 o'clock now.
Is that the reason so many tea things are put out here?
Yes, that's it. It's always tea time, and we've no time to wash the things between whiles.
Then you keep moving round, I suppose.
Exactly so, as the things get used up.
But what happens when you come to the beginning again?
Suppose we change the subject. I'm getting tired of this. Oh, I vote the young lady tells us a story.
I'm afraid I don't know one.
Then the Dormouse.
Then the Dormouse will. Go on. Wake up, Dormouse. Wake up, Dormouse.
Come on.
Come on.
I wasn't asleep. I heard every word you fellas were saying.
Tell us a story. Come on.
Yes, please do.
And be quick about it, or you'll be asleep before it's done.
Once upon a time, there were 3 little sisters, and their names were Elsie, Lacey, and Tilly, and they lived at the bottom of a well.
What did they live on?
They lived on treacle.
They couldn't have done that, you know. They'd have been ill.
So they were. Oh, very ill.
But why did they live at the bottom of a well?
It was a treacle well.
There's no such thing.
If you can't be civil, you'd better finish the story for yourself.
No, please go on. I won't interrupt you again. I dare say there may be one.
One indeed. And so, these 3 little sisters, they were learning to draw, you know.
What did they draw?
Treacle.
I want a clean cup. Let's all move one place on.
But I don't understand. Where did they draw the treacle from?
You can draw water out of a water well, so I think you should draw treacle out of a treacle well, eh? Stupid.
But they were in the well.
Of course they were. Well in. They were learning to draw. And they drew all manner of things. Everything that begins with an M.
Why an M?
Well, why not? Why not?
Whoa.
That begins with an M, such as mouse traps, and the moon, and memory, and muchness. You know you say things are much of a muchness. Did you ever see such a thing as a drawing of a muchness?
Now you ask me. I don't think.
Then you shouldn't talk.
Really, I never heard such nonsense. At any rate, I'll never go there again. It's the stupidest tea party I was ever at in all my life. That's very curious. But everything's curious today. I think I may as well go in. I've been here before. I shall manage better this time. This time, I really will get into the garden.
That's nice of you telling me to hurry up. You're the one who put the wrong roses in.
It wasn't me that did the mistake.
Here, I say, you've missed one up there.
Oh, dear. We'll never get that one. We'll need a ladder.
Very curious thing.
Look out now, Five. Don't go splashing paint over me like that.
I couldn't help it. 7 jumped my elbow.
Oh, that's right, Five. Always lay the blame on others.
You'd better not talk. I heard the Queen say only yesterday you deserved to be beheaded.
What for? That's none of your business, Chew.
Yes, it is his business, and I'll tell him. It was for bringing the cooked tulip roots instead of onions.
Well, of all the unjust things... Oh.
Would you tell me, please? Why are you painting those roses?
Why, the fact is, you see, miss, this here ought to have been a red rose tree, and we put a white one in by mistake. And if the Queen was to find out, we should all have our heads cut off, you know. So you see, miss, we're doing our best before she comes to paint.
Oh, the Queen!
The Queen! Oh, the Queen! Oh.
What would be the use of a queen if people had all to lie down on their faces so they couldn't see her?
Who is this? Idiot. What's your name, child?
My name is Alice, so please, Your Majesty. Why, they're only a pack of cards after all. I needn't be afraid of them.
And who are these?
How should I know? It's no business of mine.
Off with her head! Off with her head!
Nonsense.
No, calm yourself. Calm yourself, my dear. She's only a child.
Turn them over. Get up. Oh, stop that. You're making me giddy. What have you been doing here?
May it please Your Majesty?
I see. Off with their heads!
Call the executioner!
Call the
executioner! Over here!
You shan't be beheaded. Quick, hide in here. Quickly, get into these pots.
Executioner! Maybe if we just stand stock still, she won't...
Come on now, or you shall lose your heads.
Where is the executioner?
Asleep, Your Majesty!
Off with his head! Off with his head!
I can't get in there.
Get in quick, Five. Come on, it's a good place to hide. Hello? Right, come along now. Who's for the axe? Now, come on. I promise not to do it too hard.
Are their heads off?
The heads are gone, if it please Your Majesty.
That's right. I shall reward each man according to his work.
It's a very fine day.
Very. Where's the Duchess?
She's under sentence of execution.
What for?
She boxed the Queen's ears.
Oh, good for the Duchess.
Hush! The Queen will hear you. You see, the Duchess came rather late, and the Queen said...
Do you play croquet?
Yes.
Come on, then! To your places! Get ready! Start the game! Leave that ball alone! It's mine!
My shot, I think.
Out of my way! It's my turn now. Off with his head!
Just hold that hedgehog still for me, would you?
Off with his head! How dare you knock my ball away?
Oh, be careful what you're doing with that mallet. Oh, look at Her Majesty. Hit it, madam.
Off with his head!
Well played, my dear.
Oh, here's my whiskers.
I've never seen such unfair play. Off with his head!
Oh, but here's my whiskers.
My dear, would you like another salad?
Off with his head!
Rubbish, madam.
Take your hat down. Go. Off with their heads! How dare you knock my ball? Get the gardeners! Get the gardeners to move the hoops! This lawn is in the most disgraceful state. Those gardeners don't do their job. Off with their heads!
What will become of me? They're dreadfully fond of beheading people here. The wonder is that there's anyone left alive at all.
Oh, get those gardeners out of the way! Off with their heads!
It's the Cheshire Cat.
Yes.
Now I shall have somebody to talk to.
Enjoying the croquet?
It's no use speaking to it until its ears have come. Or at least one of them. I don't think they play at all fairly. And they don't seem to have any rules in particular. At least, if there are, nobody attends to them. And you've no idea how confusing it is, all the things being alive. And I should have croqueted the Queen's hedgehog just now. Only it ran away when it saw mine coming.
Yes. How do you like the Queen?
Not at all. She's so extremely likely to win that it's hardly worthwhile finishing the game.
Who are you talking to?
It's a friend of mine, a Cheshire Cat. Allow me to introduce it.
No, I don't like the look of it at all, no. However, it may kiss my hand, if it likes.
Oh, I'd rather not.
No, don't be impertinent. And don't you look at me like that.
A cat may look at a king, you know.
Yes.
No, my dear, I wish you would have this cat removed.
Off with his head!
I can't cut off a head unless there's a body to cut it off from.
Oh, stop that. Anything that has a head can be beheaded, and don't talk nonsense.
I've never done such a thing before.
Well, if something isn't done about it in next to no time, I shall have everybody executed all round.
It belongs to the Duchess. You'd better ask her about it.
She's in prison. Fetch her here.
Bring the Duchess, Your Majesty, certainly. Bring the Duchess, yes.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear.
One moment. Just where do you think you're off to? I'm speaking. My dear. Where's it? Upon myself.
Alice started rambling through the woods, and she thought, well, I've often seen a cat without a grin, but a grin without a cat? Why, that's the most curious thing I ever saw in my life. Alice waited.
All in the golden afternoon full leisurely we glide, for both our oars with little skill by little arms are plied, while little hands make vain pretence our wanderings to guide.
She thought it must be the house of the March Hare, because the chimney was shaped like an ear and the roof was thatched with fur. It was so larger.
Thus grew the tale of Wonderland, thus slowly, one by one, its quaint events were hammered out. And now, the tale is done. Annoyed at the behavior of the March Hare and the Mad Hatter, Alice had left their stupid tea party and found herself back in the Hall of Doors. At last she could get into the beautiful garden where she realizes that the characters she meets are all playing cards. Alice joined in the most ridiculous game of croquet with the Queen of Hearts, who gradually sent all her opponents to jail. When released from prison, the Duchess's temper seemed much improved.
You can't think how glad I am to see you again, you dear old thing.
The game's going on rather better now.
'Tis so, and the moral of that is, oh, 'tis love that makes the world go round.
Somebody said that it's done by everyone minding their own business.
Oh, well, it means much the same thing. And the moral of that is, take care of the sense, and the sounds will take care of themselves.
How fond she is of finding morals in things.
I dare say you're wondering why I don't put my arm around your waist. But the reason is, I'm rather doubtful about the temper of your flamingo. Shall I try the experiment?
He might bite.
Very true. Flamingos and mustard both bite. And the moral of that is, birds of a feather flock together.
Only mustard isn't a bird.
Right, as usual. What a clear way you have of putting things.
It's a mineral, I think.
Of course it is. There's a large mustard mine near here. And the moral of that is, the more there is of mine, the less there is of yours.
Oh, I know. It's a vegetable. It doesn't look like one, but it is.
I quite agree with you, and the moral of that is, be what you would seem to be. Or, if you'd like it put more simply, never imagine yourself not to be otherwise than what it might appear to others that what you were or might have been was not otherwise than what you had been would have appeared to them to be otherwise.
I think I should understand that better if I had it written down.
I shall make you a present of everything I've said as yet.
I'm glad they don't give birthday presents like that.
A fine day, Your Majesty. Now, I give you fair warning. Either you or your head must be off, and that in about half no time. Take your choice. Have you seen the mock turtle yet?
No, I don't even know what a mock turtle is.
It's the thing mock turtle soup is made from.
I never saw one or heard of one.
Come along then, and he shall tell you his history. Up, lazy thing. And take this young lady to see the mock turtle and to hear his story. I have some executions to attend to.
What fun!
How can executions be fun?
Why, it's all her fancy that. They never execute nobody, you know. Come on! Here is the mock turtle.
What is his sorrow?
Oh, it's all his fancy that. He hasn't got no sorrow, you know. This here young lady, she wants to know your history, she do.
I'll tell it her. Sit down, both of you, and don't speak a word till I've finished. Once, I was a real turtle.
Thank you, sir, for your interesting story.
When we were little, we went to school in the sea. The master was an old turtle. We used to call him Tortoise.
Why did you call him Tortoise if he wasn't one?
We called him Tortoise because he taught us. Really, you are very dull.
You ought to be ashamed of yourself for asking such a simple question.
We had the best of educations. In fact, we went to school every day.
And so do I. You needn't be so proud as all that.
We learned reeling and writhing to begin with, and then the different branches of arithmetic. Ambition, distraction, uglification, and derision.
I never heard of uglification. What is that?
Never heard of uglifying. You know what to beautify is, I suppose.
Yes. It means to make anything prettier.
Well then, if you don't know what to uglify is, you are a simpleton.
What else did you learn?
Well, there was mystery, ancient and modern, with seography. Then drawing. The drawing master was an old conger eel. He taught stretching and fainting in coils, too.
Yeah, I went to the classical master, though. He was an old crab, he was.
I never went to him. He taught laughing and grief.
And how many hours a day did you do lessons?
10 hours the first day, 9 the next, and so on.
What a curious plan.
Well, that's the reason they're called lessons, because they lesson from day to day. Were you ever introduced to a lobster?
I once tasted.
No,
never.
So you're going to have no idea what a delightful thing a lobster quadrille is?
No, indeed. What sort of a dance is it?
Oh, well, you first form into a line along the seashore.
2 lines. Then, when you've cleared all the jellyfish out of the way...
You generally take some time.
You advance twice.
Each with a lobster as a partner.
Of course. Advance twice. Set to partners.
Change lobsters and retire in the same order.
Then you know you throw the
lobsters...
as far up the sea as you can.
Swim after them!
Earn a somersault in the sea. Back to land again. And that's all the first figure.
It must be a very pretty dance.
Would you like to see a little of it?
Very much indeed.
Come, we can try the first figure. We can do it without lobsters, you know.
Form into a line.
Will you walk a little faster, said a whiting to a snail. There's a porpoise close behind us, and he's treading on my tail. See how eagerly the lobsters and the turtles all advance. They are waiting on the shingle. Will you come and join the dance? Will you?
Won't you?
Will you?
Won't you?
Will you join the dance? Will you?
Won't you?
Will you?
Won't you?
Will you join the dance? What matters it how far we go, his scaly friend replied. There is another shore, you know, upon the other side. The farther off from England, the nearer is to France. And turn not pale, beloved snail, but come and join the dance. Will you?
Won't you?
Will you?
Won't you?
Will you join the dance? Will you?
Won't you?
Will you?
Won't you?
Will you join the dance? Will you join the dance?
Thank you. It's a very interesting dance to watch, but I haven't heard a song about a whiting before.
Do you know why it's called a whiting?
I have never thought about it. Why?
It does the boots and shoes.
Does the boots and shoes?
What are your shoes done with? I mean, what makes them so shiny?
They're done with blacking, I believe.
Boots and shoes under the sea are done with whiting.
But what are they made of?
Soles and eels, of course. Any shrimp could have told you that.
If I'd been the whiting, I'd have said to the porpoise, "Keep back, please. We don't want you with us."
No wise fish would go anywhere without a porpoise.
Would you like the mock turtle to sing you a song?
Oh, yes, please.
Sing a turtle soup, will you, old fellow?
Beautiful soup, so rich and green, waiting in a hot tureen. Who for such dainties would not stoop? Soup of the evening, beautiful soup. Soup of the evening, beautiful soup. Beautiful soup. Beautiful soup. Soup of the evening, beautiful, beautiful soup.
Yay! The trial is now beginning!
Come on.
What trial is it?
Come on.
Don't sit on my tail! How dare you, sir? I always sit here.
Silence in court.
Trial today. I've no idea. Just don't sit in my seat.
Silence in court.
That must be the judge, because of his great wig. And that's the jury box. And those creatures, I suppose they are the jurors. What are they doing? They can't have anything to put down yet, before the trial's begun.
They're putting down their names for fear they should forget them before the end of the trial.
Stupid things.
Stupid things.
Stupid things.
I wish they'd get the trial done and hand out the refreshments.
Silence in court.
Herald, read the accusation.
The Queen of Hearts, she made some tarts, all on a summer day. The Knave of Hearts, he stole those tarts and took them quite away.
Disgusting.
Consider your verdict.
No, not yet, not yet. There's a great deal to come before that.
A great deal of what?
Evidence, Your Majesty. This paper has just been picked up.
Oh, very well. What's in it?
I haven't opened it yet, but it seems to be a letter written by the prisoner to somebody.
Well, it must have been that. Unless it was written to nobody, which isn't usual, you know.
Please, Your Majesty, I didn't write it, and they can't prove I did. There's no name signed at the end.
If you didn't sign it, that only makes the matter worse. You must have meant some mischief, or else you'd have signed your name like an honest man.
That proves his guilt.
It proves nothing of the sort.
Let the jury consider their verdict.
No. Sentence first, verdict afterwards.
Stuff and nonsense. The idea of having the sentence first.
Hold your tongue.
I won't.
Off with her head.
Very sound decision. Off with their head. Off with their head. That's the way. Chop all their heads off.
Now, call the first witness.
First witness.
It's the Hatter. Look,
Oh, yes,
look,
yes,
it's the Hatter.
it is. It's the Hatter.
Oh, I beg your pardon, Your Majesty, for bringing these in, but I hadn't quite finished my tea when I was sent for.
You ought to have finished. When did you begin?
14th of March, I think it was.
15th. 16th.
Write that down.
Oh, I wish you wouldn't squeeze so. I can hardly breathe.
I can't help it. I'm growing.
Take off your hat.
It isn't mine.
Stolen!
No, I keep them to sell. I've none of my own. I'm a hatter.
Pure criminal tax.
Now, give your evidence, and don't be nervous, or I'll have you executed on the spot.
Very sound decision. Chop all their heads
Bring
off.
me the list of singers in the last concert.
Oh, Your Majesty, I...
Give your evidence, or I'll have you executed, whether you're nervous or not.
Your Majesty, I had just begun my tea, not above a week or so, and what with the bread and butter getting so thin, and the twinkling of the tea...
The twinkling of the what?
It began with the tea.
But of course, twinkling begins with the tea. Do you take me for a dunce? Huh? Go on.
I'm a poor man, and most things twinkled after that, only the March Hare said...
I didn't.
Sit down, sir.
You did?
I deny it. He denies it. So, leave out that part.
Well, at any rate, the Dormouse said...
Oh, yeah.
After that, I cut some more bread and butter.
But what did the Dormouse say?
That I can't remember.
You must remember, or I'll have you executed.
Off with his head!
You must remember, or I'll have you executed.
Oh, I'm a poor man, Your Majesty.
Poor old Hatter.
Oh, very poor speaker.
Hooray! Hurrah!
Silence in court.
I won't be suppressed. Don't take your hands off me. Help, oh dear, I'm going to be beheaded.
Oh, dear.
If that's all you know about it, you may stand down.
I can't go any lower. I'm on the floor as it is.
Ah, well, then you may go.
And just take his head off outside. No head. No head.
But he hasn't done anything. How unfair it all is.
What are the tarts made of?
Pepper, mostly.
Treacle.
Collar that dormouse. Behead that dormouse. Suppress him. Pinch him. Off with his whiskers.
Ah, well, never mind. Yes, never mind. Call the next witness.
Call Alice!
Here.
What do you know about this business?
Nothing.
Nothing whatever?
Nothing whatever.
Ah, now that's very important.
Important.
Unimportant, Your Majesty means, of course.
Unimportant, of course, I meant.
Important.
Silence in court.
Important.
Silence!
Important.
Rule 42. All persons more than a mile high to leave the court.
I'm not a mile high.
What a big girl.
What?
Nearly 2 miles high.
Well, I shan't go at any rate. Besides, it's not a regular rule. You invented it just now.
It's the oldest rule in the book.
Then it ought to be rule number 1.
Rule number 1. Off with her head.
Oh, no, you don't. Who cares for you? Anyway, you're nothing but a pack of cards. Cards.
You don't know much.
Your hair was cutting.
Off with her head.
Is New Zealand or Australia?
Have some wine. What's your name, child? Off with her head. You're not paying attention.
What size do you want to be? A caucus race.
We're all right here.
Are you to get in at all?
Mary Ann, fetch me my gloves this moment.
Do you play cricket?
Without a cat.
Chop off her head.
Curiouser.
Wake up. Alice, dear. Why, what a long sleep you've had.
I've had such a curious dream.
It must have been a curious dream. But now, run in for your tea. It's getting late.